There are moments in life when silence feels like absence, when delay feels like denial, when you wonder if heaven forgot your name. But God is never late. He is not bound by the ticking of clocks or the calendars we cling to. His timing is not ours to command, it is ours to trust. You see, while we wait, He works. While we count the days, He crafts eternity. While we pace in anxiety, He moves with precision, and in His time, not a second early, not a minute late, He fulfills what He promised. There is purpose in the pause. It's in the waiting that trust is forged. It's in the delay that pride is stripped away. It's in the quiet that our hearts learn to lean not on what we see, but on who He is. Stay with Him there, in the stillness, in the stretching, in the places that feel like nothing is happening, because that's often where the deepest transformation begins. Not in motion, but in surrender, not in striving, but in silence. And when the moment comes, when the door opens, the prayer is answered, the promise is fulfilled, you will understand. You will look back and say, it had to happen this way. Because the version of you that will step into the blessing had to be born in the waiting. God's timing is not just about when, it's about who you become in the meantime. So release your timelines, lay down your expectations, and lean into trust. He has never been early. He has never been late. He is always, perfectly, on time. There's a beauty in God's rhythm that defies our logic. His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts rise higher than our own. Sometimes, He withholds not to punish, but to protect. He waits not to frustrate, but to prepare. Because what you're asking for isn't too big, it's too important to rush. Think of the seed planted deep beneath the soil. There is no rush to the surface. It is hidden, quiet, unseen, but it is not dead. It is developing, pressing through layers, stretching its roots, and when the time is right, it breaks through, not because it forced its way, but because it was ready. You are that seed. God is not ignoring you. He is growing you. And when the moment comes that aligns heaven's purpose with your posture of surrender, the shift will be unmistakable. What seemed dormant will bloom. What felt forgotten will flourish. What looked like silence will suddenly make sense. That's the power of divine timing. It's not a delay, it's a design. So breathe. Step back from the urge to force it. Resist the temptation to chase the shortcut. The long road with God is always worth more than the fast track without Him. And if this whisper finds you in a season of waiting, in a place of delay, let it settle in your spirit. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are simply being aligned. If these words have settled something deep in your heart, take a moment, like, share, comment your thoughts, or subscribe so you never miss these whispers again. You never know who else is quietly waiting, silently wondering, deeply needing to hear the same truth. His timing is perfect, and so is His care for you. It's easy to celebrate when things arrive quickly, when prayers are answered on our schedule, when everything unfolds just as we imagined. But what about the days when doors stay shut? When the clock ticks louder than the promises spoken over your life? When it feels like everyone else is moving forward, and you are standing still? That's when trust becomes more than a word. That's when faith matures into endurance. That's when we stop asking, when, and start whispering, still I trust you. Because God is not concerned with speed. He is committed to strength. He knows what lies ahead. And He will not send you forward until the foundation is firm. Until your character can carry the weight of the calling. Until your roots run deep enough not to be shaken when the wind of breakthrough finally blows. So if you're waiting, if you're weary, if you're tempted to abandon what God placed in your heart, pause. Remember what's true. God has never rushed. Creation itself was not formed in a single breath. He took time, He shaped, He separated, He prepared, and when everything was in place, He called it good. He is doing the same with you. The silence is not punishment. The pause is not punishment. It is preparation, holy, hidden, heavenly preparation. Let Him finish what He started. Let Him set the table. Let Him bring the right people, the right moment, the right provision, in His way and in His time. And when it happens, you'll see it clearly, that the wait was not empty. It was everything. Because God's timing is never just about the destination. It's about who you become along the way. Have you noticed how seasons change quietly? There's no grand announcement when winter softens into spring. The shift happens slowly, sometimes imperceptibly, but it happens with certainty. Buds bloom, light lingers, warmth returns, and suddenly, everything looks different. God moves in much the same way. He does not always shout. He does not always rush. But He is always moving, always shaping, always transitioning you from one season to the next in the cadence of His perfect will. And the beauty is, you don't have to understand His timing to trust it. You don't have to predict it to prepare for it. All He asks is that you remain faithful where you are, and keep your heart ready for where He's taking you. Because when He moves, it will be clear. The doors will open not by force, but by favor. The opportunities will align not by chance, but by calling. And the peace you've been aching for will settle over you, not because the wait ended, but because you trusted Him in the middle of it. This is the deep work of timing. He teaches you to breathe when it's tight, to rest when it's tense, to believe when nothing makes sense. Because those who wait well, walk strong. And right now, you are being made strong, not for a moment, but for a mission. So take heart. Every tick of the clock brings you closer, not just to something, but to someone, the one who holds time, yet never runs out of it, the one who holds you, even when you're not sure how much longer you can hold on. His timing is still perfect. And soon, it will be perfectly clear. The waiting room of God is not a place of punishment. It is a place of preparation. It's where He removes the weights that won't serve you in the next season. Where He sharpens your focus. Where He teaches you that strength isn't found in speed, but in surrender. Because breakthrough that comes too soon can break you. God, in His mercy, withholds until you're ready, not to discourage, but to develop you, not to frustrate, but to fortify. He knows what the next chapter holds, and He will not let you step into it without what you need. This is why timing matters. Too early, and we mismanage the gift. Too fast, and we forget who gave it. Too soon, and we rely on ourselves rather than the one who sustained us in the silence. So if it hasn't come yet, trust. It's not time. And that's okay. You're still growing. You're still learning. You're still drawing near. And in that process, God is building something in you that delay cannot destroy and that disappointment cannot dismantle. And when the moment comes, because it will come, you won't just celebrate the answer. You'll worship the God who walked with you through every unanswered moment. You'll see it all with new eyes. You'll recognize that His timing wasn't just right, it was redemptive, restorative, wise, loving, and you'll know, had it come sooner, you might have missed the deeper miracle, who you became while you waited. So stay present, stay expectant, stay soft. God's timing is not just an event. It's a rhythm, a dance, a divine unfolding of purpose right on time. And He never misses a beat. There will be days when the weight of waiting feels unbearable, when your heart aches under the pressure of not knowing, when the silence around you echoes louder than the promises within you, when you wonder if you've misheard, misunderstood, or missed it altogether. But friend, hear this. God is not the author of confusion. He is the anchor in uncertainty. And His timing is still perfect. It's okay to feel weary. It's okay to have questions. But don't let your questions drown out the truth, what God has started. He will finish, not when it's convenient, but when it's complete. He sees what you can't. He knows what you don't. And He is leading you not according to pressure, but according to purpose. Sometimes, what feels like delay is actually divine protection. Sometimes, the closed door is a closed trap. Sometimes, the detour is the direct route to deeper faith. Because in the waiting, you learn to listen. In the stillness, you hear His whisper, and in the pause, you discover that His presence was never tied to progress. He's with you now, right here, in the middle, in the in-between, in the not yet. And that is the miracle. That the same God who stands at the end of the promise is also standing beside you in the process. So hold on a little longer. Breathe a little deeper. Trust a little further. Your time is coming. And when it does, you won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. You'll simply step into what has been waiting for you all along. In perfect time. In perfect peace. In the arms of a perfectly faithful God. Have you ever wondered why God doesn't always reveal the full plan? Why He gives you the vision, but not the schedule? Why He plants the dream, but doesn't map out every step? It's because He's after something deeper than your destination. He's after your dependence. If you knew every turn, every timing, every detail, you wouldn't need to lean on Him. You'd rely on your own understanding. And though He loves to bless you, He loves even more to be with you. So He walks you one step at a time. He invites you into trust. He teaches you to listen not just for outcomes, but for His voice. And slowly, as you follow, something holy unfolds. You stop measuring your life by what has happened and start anchoring your soul in who He is. You stop striving and start abiding. You stop doubting and start declaring, "Your way, Lord, Your will, Your time." That's where freedom is found. Not in knowing everything, but in knowing He does. Because the truth is, if God gave you what you're asking for right now, it might crush you, it might distract you, it might even destroy the very intimacy you've built with Him in the silence. So He waits. Not because He is far, but because He is close. So close that He would rather walk with you slowly than watch you rush ahead without Him. You're not waiting for Him to catch up. He's waiting for the moment when everything aligns, not just in your life, but in your heart. That's the kind of timing that lasts. That's the kind of timing that transforms. That's perfect timing. There is peace that comes when you stop trying to make things happen and start trusting that God already is. Peace that silences the need to prove, to push, to produce. Peace that whispers, "I know it doesn't look like much right now, but He's working." Because even when the surface seems still, God's plans are never dormant. Beneath the quiet, He is shifting hearts, aligning timing, opening opportunities, closing traps, healing wounds you didn't even know were there, positioning you to not just receive the blessing, but to carry it with grace. You don't have to rush what God is growing. There's no need to chase what He has already assigned to you. There's no pressure to make it all fit when the Spirit is guiding your every step. Just stay faithful. Stay planted in the season you're in. Be excellent with what's in your hands. Listen closely for His leading, and let His pace become your peace. Because the world will try to speed you up. It will tell you you're behind, that you're missing out, that God has forgotten. But heaven says otherwise. Heaven says the wait is where the oil is formed, the anointing is refined, the testimony is written, and those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Not because time passed, but because presence deepened. So don't run ahead. Don't force the door open. Don't assume the silence means stop. It might just mean pause. And that pause might be the very breath that saves you from burnout. His timing is not just strategic. It's kind. And in kindness, he holds it back until it's best. Wait well. What's coming is worth every second. The temptation to rush is real. When you see others moving ahead. When doors open for people around you. When answers seem to arrive for everyone except you. It's easy to question God's pace. To wonder if you've been overlooked. To ask, why not now? But what you don't see is what God is protecting you from. There are battles He's shielding you from fighting. There are burdens He's not ready for you to carry. There are lessons He is teaching you now so you can stand later. Because God doesn't just want to get you there. He wants you to thrive once you arrive. That's what perfect timing produces. It cultivates strength. It sharpens wisdom. It births a version of you that won't crumble when the platform expands. When the weight increases, when the blessing arrives, you think you're just waiting. But God is training you in trust. He's anchoring your identity in something deeper than results. Deeper than recognition. Deeper than the applause of men. He's rooting you in Himself. So when the moment comes, you won't just say, "Thank you for the blessing." You'll say, "I knew you were coming." That's the posture of those who wait well. It's not passive. It's not hesitant. It's filled with quiet fire. A confident expectancy that rests in the nature of God, not the calendar of man. You may not know the day or the hour, but you know the one who does. And He is not scrambling. He is not reacting. He is unfolding everything exactly as He promised. You are not behind. You are being aligned with heaven's rhythm. And that rhythm always ends in glory. Sometimes the hardest part of waiting is not the time itself. It's the lies that sneak in during the silence. Lies that say, if it hasn't happened yet, maybe it never will. Lies that whisper, maybe you're not worthy, maybe you missed it, maybe you heard wrong. But God doesn't speak through fear. He speaks through truth. And the truth is, His promises are not on trial. His goodness is not up for debate. What He spoke over your life is still active, even if you can't see it yet. Delay does not equal denial. What feels like a pause is actually precision. What feels like being left out is actually being led deeper. He is shaping you to recognize the blessing when it comes, not just by how it looks, but by how it aligns with the Spirit inside you. That's what waiting produces: discernment. The ability to see what's from Him and what's a distraction. The ability to walk away from good so you can step into God. The wisdom to say, not everything that glitters is gold, and not everything that delays is denied. You are being prepared for more than a moment. You are being shaped for a life of spiritual depth, holy resilience, and unwavering peace. And when His time comes, and it will come, you will walk into it without striving, without forcing, without fear, because your heart will be ready, your hands will be clean, your spirit will be settled, and your life will be the living proof that God's timing wasn't just perfect, it was personal. And it was worth every second. There's a sacred strength that comes from surrendering your timeline to God. When you stop counting the days and start collecting the lessons. When you stop staring at the closed doors and start leaning into the open hands of your Creator. That is when the pressure lifts. That is when peace returns. Because deep down, your soul already knows, God has never failed you. Not once. Even the seasons that broke you built something lasting. Even the delays that hurt you held you in place just long enough to protect what mattered most. Even the disappointments carried you into deeper dependence. That's how perfect His timing is. It doesn't just get you to the right place. It shapes who you are when you arrive. It ensures that when the blessing comes, it doesn't become a burden. That when the promise is fulfilled, it doesn't replace the presence you learned to love along the way. That's the real miracle, not just the breakthrough, but the transformation. You become someone who no longer fears waiting, because you've met God in the delay. You've seen how He speaks through silence, how He moves behind the scenes, how He softens hearts and orchestrates outcomes and makes all things beautiful in their time. So if you're still waiting, keep your heart open. The breakthrough might not be loud. It might not be grand. It might not come how you pictured, but it will be right. And when it does, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready, because perfect timing doesn't rush. And neither will you. Some answers come quickly, but the most valuable ones take time. Not because God is slow, but because He's wise. He knows that what's being cultivated in the waiting is often more important than what we're waiting for. He's not just giving you a gift. He's forming a foundation that can hold it. So often we cry out, "When, Lord?" and He answers. When it's full of faith, full of trust, full of surrender, full of the character required to carry the promise without losing your soul. Because blessings given too soon can become idols, and miracles received without maturity can break you. But God loves you too much to let that happen. So He works slowly, patiently, carefully. He weaves moments together with such precision that one day, when you look back, you'll see it. Nothing was wasted. Every pause had purpose. Every silence carried weight. And that weight, it anchored you. It deepened your roots. It taught you how to walk when nothing was visible. It built a kind of trust that storms can't shake. This is the quiet glory of waiting. Not just what you're waiting for, but who you're becoming while you wait. And when the day comes, and it will come, you'll walk into the answer not with desperation, but with confidence. You'll move not in a rush, but in rhythm, and you'll carry the kind of peace that only comes from knowing it happened exactly when it was supposed to. Perfectly timed, perfectly placed, perfectly prepared, because that's the way He works, with patience and precision. Always. Waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. Waiting is where the invisible becomes invaluable. It's where strength is forged without spectacle. It's where God does His deepest work, away from the noise. Beyond the spotlight, within your soul, and while others may rush past you. Don't be fooled. Faster is not always fuller. Sooner is not always stronger. You are not late. You are being led. Led through pruning that produces fruit. Led through silence that tunes your ear. Led through stillness that builds supernatural stamina. And when it's time, you will not have to compete for what's already yours. You will not have to manipulate doors that only God can open. You will simply step into the room and know, this is the moment heaven prepared. This is what waiting was for. Because when you've walked with God through the slow seasons, you recognize His fingerprints in the breakthrough. You don't forget who brought you there. You don't idolize the gift. You worship the giver. And that's what the wait was forming all along, worship. Not just with songs, but with steps. Not just with words, but with willingness. A kind of surrendered reverence that trusts His plan even when it's unfamiliar. Even when it's slower than expected. So if you're still in the tension, still in the space between, still wondering when, hold fast. Let your posture be peace. Let your pace be patience. Let your promise be this: He has never failed, and He won't start now. Because when it comes to your life, your story, your season, God's timing will always be perfect. There's something sacred about unanswered prayers. They linger, they stretch us, they dig deep into our motives, our fears, our foundations, and while we long for resolution, God often lingers in the space where we're most uncomfortable, because that's where trust is born. If He gave you everything you asked for the moment you asked, your faith would never grow roots. Your worship would depend on outcomes. Your relationship with Him would hinge on what He could do for you rather than who He is. But God is after something deeper. He's not building convenience. He's cultivating communion, and that requires time, stillness, seasons of silence that strip away our impatience and uncover our idols. Because it's there, in the ache of delay, that we see the beauty of surrender. You stop praying just for the answer, and you start praying for alignment. You stop begging, and you start abiding. You stop striving, and you start listening. And as you sit with Him, not for what He can do, but for who He is, something holy happens. You realize that maybe the weight wasn't keeping something from you. Maybe it was protecting what matters most, intimacy. Because the miracle is never more important than the maker. The breakthrough is never better than the presence. And when the timing finally comes, and it will, you won't just walk away with an answer. You'll walk away with an anchor. A testimony that time didn't shake. That delay didn't destroy. That waiting only deepened. That's what perfect timing does. It doesn't just deliver what you hoped for. It confirms what you believed in all along. God is faithful, and He is never late. Think back to every moment you thought you couldn't make it. Every door that stayed shut longer than you liked. Every prayer that seemed to echo back unanswered. Every detour, delay, and disappointment. Now ask yourself, did God leave you? Or did He lead you? Because even when the timing didn't make sense, the outcome still brought you closer. The delay still developed something in you. The pause still prepared you for something greater than you could have carried back then. That's what He's doing again. Right now, even in the stillness, even in the silence, He is leading, not reacting to circumstances, but guiding all things into divine alignment. Because God does not rush what He is redeeming, and He does not abandon what He is building. You are not an exception to His timing, you are a part of His perfection. The clock may tick louder as you wait. The pressure may increase, but let this truth settle deep. God is never hurried, never panicked, never 1 second off. His timing is the harmony your soul was made to move with. So stop measuring progress by movement. Stop assuming absence when it's just a different pace. Stop comparing your timeline to someone else's testimony. He knows the way, and He knows how to walk with you at just the right speed. There will come a day when it all makes sense, when what you're waiting for arrives, and you'll look back and say, this had to happen like this. Not earlier, not easier, just exactly as it did. And that moment, that's when peace will flood your chest. Because it didn't just happen. It happened right on time. His time. You may not realize it now, but the version of you who will walk into the promise is not the same one who first received it. That's the gift of timing. It matures you. It humbles you. It teaches you how to carry hope through silence. How to walk with joy through slow seasons. How to choose trust when nothing makes sense. This is not wasted time. It's weight-bearing time. Time that builds spiritual muscle. Time that teaches you to walk by faith, not by sight. Time that rewrites your definition of success, not as speed, but as surrender, not as control, but as communion. Because at the end of it all, what matters most is not when it happens, but that you walked with God the entire way there. He's not just taking you to a breakthrough. He's walking with you through a becoming. And when His timing collides with your readiness, everything will shift. The right door will open. The right words will come. The right opportunities will find you. Not because you forced them, but because you followed. And then you'll know. You'll look back with clarity and gratitude. You'll thank Him not just for the answer, but for every moment He withheld it. For every hour you questioned. For every silent night that taught you how to hear His whisper. Because now, you don't just have the thing. You have the history, the journey, the deep knowing that God was faithful through every page. So hold on just a little longer. What He's written cannot be undone. What He's planned cannot be delayed. And what He's preparing you for is worth every breath, every tear, every quiet day you chose to believe. God's timing is perfect. And soon, you'll see why.